Have you been feeling an intense sexual energy chasing you lately? Obsessive thoughts that seem to appear out of nowhere, desires that don't feel like your own, a restlessness in your body that keeps you awake and robs you of peace? This is no coincidence, and it's not a sign of weakness. While most people think this is just biological or hormonal, you, who have been chosen, are being energetically attacked because something much greater is about to awaken within you. And the forces that don't want this awakening know it. They know that when you fully awaken, nothing will be able to stop you. So they use the oldest and most powerful weapon that exists, sexual energy. Because this energy, when misdirected, binds you, weakens you, and diverts you from your purpose. But when transmuted, it becomes the most potent fuel for your spiritual awakening. And today, what was hidden will be revealed. You will understand why these attacks are happening now, where they come from, and especially how to transmute this energy into pure power. Because, chosen one, the battle is not against flesh and blood. It is against principalities and powers that know exactly when you are about to level up. Before we continue, if you're feeling this in your chest right now, if every word is resonating in your soul, please like this video, because that's confirmation you didn't arrive here by chance. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because the next few days will bring revelations that will completely change the way you see this spiritual battle. And in the comments, share with me, what has been the biggest challenge you face when these sexual attacks occur? Your experience can help another chosen one who is going through the same silent war. Now come with me, because what you're about to discover in the next few minutes will make everything fall into place. Let me explain something that religions haven't told you, and that shallow spirituality ignores. Sexual energy is the most powerful creative energy that exists in a human being. It's the same force that creates life. And when you've been marked as chosen, this energy within you isn't ordinary. It's amplified, it's potentiated, it's sacred, and that's exactly why you become a target. Have you ever noticed that these intense desires appear precisely when you are in moments of spiritual elevation? When you have just prayed, meditated, or connected with the divine? When you are determined to change your life, to give up addictions, to distance yourself from toxic people? It's not a coincidence, it's strategy. The forces of darkness know that if they can make you unconsciously waste this sexual energy, you lose spiritual power, you lose mental clarity, you lose vibrational frequency. You literally surrender your life force to the void. But here's what nobody told you. This intense attack you're feeling right now is confirmation that something big is about to happen in your life. The bigger the attack, the bigger the awakening that's coming. Think about it. Why would they attack someone insignificant? Why would they waste energy trying to take down someone who has no purpose whatsoever? The answer is simple. They wouldn't attack. The fact that you are being bombarded with these obsessive thoughts, with these temptations, with these sexual energies coming from all directions, means that the universe is about to promote you, and the darkness is desperately trying to stop you before that happens. Now pay attention to this, because it's crucial. These attacks don't just come from one place, they are multi-dimensional. First level. There are people around you, ex-relationships, acquaintances, even strangers, who send sexual energy in your direction. They think about you obsessively, fantasize and project desire, and these projections reach you as energy waves that disturb your field. Second level, there are low-frequency entities that feed on wasted sexual energy. They know that when a chosen one unconsciously gives in to these impulses, this energy leaks out, and they capture this energy to strengthen themselves. That's why they induce thoughts, mental images, erotic dreams. They create scenarios in your mind to make you release this vital force. Third level, you have your own inner shadow that needs to be transmuted. That part of you that still carries past, sexual memories, traumas, uncut energetic bonds, unconscious pacts. All of this comes to the surface when you are about to awaken because it needs to be cleansed, purified, transmuted. And here is the first major revelation that I need you to fully absorb. Sexual desire itself is not the enemy. Sexual energy is sacred. The problem is when this energy is manipulated, stolen, wasted, when it is used against you instead of being channeled by you. The great spiritual masters, the alchemists, the enlightened ones of all traditions have always known this. Sexual energy is the basis of transmutation. It is Kundalini, it is the inner fire. It is the serpent that rises up the spine and opens the portals of consciousness. But you were taught to be ashamed of it. You were taught to repress it or to waste it. You were never taught to master it and transform it. Because a chosen one who masters their own sexual energy becomes unstoppable. They have focus, clarity, magnetism, power of manifestation, explosive creativity, radiant health. They become a pure channel of incarnate divine energy. And that's exactly what the darkness doesn't want to happen to you. So they attack you at your most vulnerable point, your sexuality. They try to make you believe that you are weak, that you have no control, that you are a prisoner of your desires. They try to make you feel guilt, shame, defeat, but the truth is different. You are being tested because you are about to level up. You are being attacked because you are about to access a power that few access. Wait, stay here with me, because what's coming next will completely change how you deal with this. Now I'm going to reveal something even deeper to you. These sexual attacks don't just happen on the physical or mental plane. They happen on the astral plane, the etheric plane, and even in the dream world. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with intense arousal for no apparent reason? Have you ever had vivid, erotic dreams about people you don't even know, or even people you know, but have never had that kind of connection with? Have you ever felt a sexual presence during the early hours of the morning? This is not imagination. These are targeted energy attacks. There are entities specialized in sexual vampirism. They approach chosen individuals during sleep because that's when defenses are lowest. They induce dreams, create sensations, and provoke the release of energy. And when you release that energy on the astral plane, they drain it. Some people wake up exhausted, with no energy at all, feeling like they've been drained. And they have, literally. But here's what changes everything. When you understand the game, you stop being a victim and become the master of the situation. The second great revelation is this. You don't need to repress sexual energy. You need to transmute it, to repress and try to deny, to push down, to pretend it doesn't exist. This creates internal pressure that eventually explodes destructively. How many people live repressing for years and then suffer breakdowns, betrayals, addictions, compulsions? Many. Transmutation is different. Transmutation is taking that powerful energy and consciously channeling it towards another purpose. It's pure alchemy. How is this done in practice? When the desire arises, when temptation strikes, when the obsessive thought appears, instead of giving in or suppressing it, you take a deep breath and direct that energy upwards. You visualize this energy rising up your spine, activating each chakra, reaching your head, your crown chakra. You transform sexual desire into creative desire, into focus, into determination, into production, into art, into inspired work, into powerful prayer, into deep meditation. The great geniuses of humanity knew this secret. Tesla was celibate because he knew that by not wasting his sexual energy, he channeled it all into his inventions. Mozart, Da Vinci, and so many other masters used this vital force consciously, and you, chosen one, have access to the same power. But let me tell you about another aspect of these attacks that few people know about: sexual energy cords. Every time you've had sexual relations with someone, an energy cord has been created, and that cord remains connected even after years, even after the breakup, even after physical distance, and it is through these cords that many sexual assaults occur. That ex you haven't seen in years might be thinking about you obsessively. And through the cord, that energy reaches you. You suddenly remember the person, feel longing, feel desire. But it's not yours. It's the energy that's coming through the cord. That person you hooked up with once, who became obsessed with you, might be sending you sexual energy consciously or unconsciously. And you can feel it. That's why it's so important to cut energetic cords. That's why it's so important to cleanse the sexual field. That's why you need to declare aloud, with firm intention, I now cut all sexual energetic cords that no longer serve my highest good. I recover all my energy. I free myself from all sexual projections sent in my direction. And you will feel the relief. You will feel the lightness. But now comes the part that will make everything fit together perfectly. Pay close attention now, because what you are about to hear is not just a spiritual warning, it is a decree concerning your life. For a long time you've felt wronged. You've carried too much weight. You've endured attacks you never deserved. You've seen people rise up against you, but what they didn't know is that you're marked for victory, marked for a rise, marked for a moment to be seen at the perfect time. And that time is beginning now. What I'm going to give you today are 3 powerful spiritual books created for those entering the phase of divine justice, emotional rebirth, and awakening of power. These books weren't written for those who are still asleep. They're for those who already feel the movement happening, enemies falling of their own accord, cycles ending, and doors that were once locked finally beginning to open. And with each book, you will receive 2 secret bonuses, profound content that I have never revealed here on the channel. In total, 9 sacred materials, prepared to accelerate everything that is already written about you. The collapse of your enemies, the recovery of what you have lost, your spiritual rebirth, and your triumphant return, stronger, wiser, and absolutely untouchable. But listen to this seriously, this access is extremely limited. Not because I want it that way, but because certain revelations cannot be available to everyone. Only to those who are truly ready for what is to come. And if you're listening to this and feeling your chest race, your body shiver, your soul respond, that's not emotion, that's confirmation. Something is prepared for you, and it's very close, so don't ignore this sign now. Click the link in the first pinned comment. Join this journey before access is taken away. Remember, divine justice never fails. The downfall of your enemies is inevitable, and your triumphant return has already begun. The only question is, are you going to join this movement, or are you going to watch it happen without you? And here we come to the third and most powerful revelation. The reason why these sexual assaults are intensifying now is because you are entering the final preparation phase before your great quantum leap. Let me explain what that means. The universe works in cycles, and you, chosen one, are completing a purification cycle that has lasted for years, perhaps a lifetime. You have been broken, isolated, tested in every area. Relationships have ended, friendships have fallen apart, certainties have crumbled. All of this was necessary to cleanse what was old, to destroy what wasn't truly yours, to empty you of the false so that the true could enter. And now, after all this process, you are about to enter the manifestation phase. The phase where everything you visualized, everything you prayed for, everything you held on to in faith will begin to materialize rapidly. But to enter this phase with full power, you need to master your sexual energy, because this energy is the fuel for manifestation. Think about it. When you wasted that energy throughout your life, what happened? You felt empty, tired, unfocused, unmotivated. The days went by and nothing progressed. You had ideas, but lacked the strength to execute them. Now imagine when you hold on to that energy, when you consciously transmute it. You wake up with energy. You have mental clarity. You act with determination. Things start to flow. Opportunities appear. The right people cross your path. That's why the attacks are intense now. Because the opposing forces know that if you master this, if you enter this new phase with your sexual energy intact and transmuted, you will manifest so quickly, you will rise so high that nothing else will be able to reach you. They're trying to drain you before your takeoff. But they don't know one thing: every time you resist, every time you transmute, every time you consciously choose not to waste that vital force, you become stronger. You accumulate power, you become magnetic, and then there comes a turning point where attacks simply can no longer affect you. Because your frequency is so high, your energy field is so protected, your connection with the divine is so solid that nothing of low frequency can penetrate. You become untouchable. But to get there, you need to go through this purifying fire that is happening right now. Let me give you practical examples of how this works in everyday life so you can apply it immediately. Situation 1. You wake up in the middle of the night with an intense sexual desire, obsessive thoughts invading your mind. What to do? First, you acknowledge this is an attack. It's not yours. It's something from outside trying to drain you. Second, you take 3 deep breaths, directing the energy from the base of your spine to the top of your head. Third, you declare aloud or mentally, I do not allow any foreign energy into my field. I am protected by divine light. This energy now transmutes into creative power and spiritual focus. Situation 2, you meet someone who awakens an intense desire in you. The attraction is strong, almost irresistible. What to do? First, you observe without judging. You feel the energy but don't act impulsively. Second, you ask yourself, is this person aligned with my purpose? Will this connection uplift me or drag me down? Third, you consciously choose. If the answer is that it will lead you astray, you appreciate the attraction but don't feed it. You transmute that energy into self-care, into work on your projects, into a deeper connection with the divine. Situation 3. You have a very realistic erotic dream about someone from your past and wake up confused, feeling as if it really happened. What to do? First, you understand that it was an astral attack. Second, as soon as you wake up, you take a shower, visualizing the water cleansing your entire energy field. Third, you cut the energy cord with that person again, even if you have done so before. You declare, I cut now and forever any sexual connection with this person. I recover my energy. I free. Do you notice the pattern here? Recognize, transmute, decree. These 3 steps will protect you from 90% of the sexual assaults you face. But there's something even more powerful that I need to reveal to you. The intention behind sexual transmutation is what determines the outcome. If you transmute this energy solely for material success, money or power over others, you are still using the energy in an egoic way, and the force will eventually turn against you. But if you transmute that energy with the intention of serving your higher purpose, of fulfilling your mission, of being a channel of light in this world, then yes, you align yourself with the divine flow, and everything conspires in your favor. You stop fighting the current and start surfing the wave, and now comes the part that will seal it all. Now I'm going to give you concrete signs that you are managing to transmute this sexual energy correctly and that your awakening is truly happening. Pay attention, because if you are experiencing this, it's absolute confirmation that you are on the right path. First sign, you begin to feel a different energy in your body. It's no longer that desperate restlessness, that consuming and disturbing desire. It's a more subtle, more refined energy that rises up your spine and gives you a feeling of inner power, confidence, and presence. You feel more whole, more centered. Second sign, obsessive thoughts decrease drastically. Before, you spent hours of the day fighting against mental images, fantasies, and desires that arose incessantly. Now, when they appear, you can observe them without identifying with them. They pass like clouds, and you remain like the sky. This is mental mastery. This is spiritual maturity. Third sign, you notice that certain people start to drift away from your life without explanation. Those people who were energetically connected to you in a sexual way, who were draining you, who projected fantasies and obsessions, they simply disappear. Either they distance themselves or you completely lose interest. This happens because the cord has been cut, the frequency has changed, and those who no longer vibrate at the same frequency cannot remain. Fourth sign, you begin to have more physical and mental energy. You wake up refreshed, you produce more, you create more, you have brilliant ideas that appear out of nowhere. This is the direct result of sexual energy being transmuted into creative energy. Great artists, inventors, and spiritual leaders have always known this, and now you are accessing the same power. Fifth sign, you notice changes in your personal magnetism. People look at you differently. You attract opportunities effortlessly. You become interesting, mysterious, powerful in the eyes of others. But at the same time, you no longer depend on external validation. You know who you are. And this combination of magnetism and detachment is irresistible. Sixth sign, the night attacks decrease or stop completely. You sleep peacefully. You wake up refreshed. If you still have any dreams of this nature, you wake up knowing exactly what it was and immediately cut off the connection. The entities realize they can no longer drain your energy and go looking for easier victims. Seventh sign, you feel a deeper connection with the divine. Your prayers have more power, your meditations are more profound. You receive clear guidance, synchronicities increase, and your intuition becomes sharper. This happens because sexual energy, when transmuted, opens higher spiritual channels. You literally become a purer channel. Eighth sign, you realize that when you find someone who is truly worthwhile, someone who is aligned with your purpose, the sexual connection is completely different. It's no longer that desperate urgency. It's a sacred, conscious exchange where energy flows between the two and both emerge stronger, more connected to the divine. That is sacred sexuality. That is what few experience. Now, for those who are still in the midst of the battle, for those whose attacks are still intense, I'm going to give you the complete protection and transmutation protocol that you can start applying today. Morning protocol. As soon as you wake up, before picking up your phone, before doing anything else, close your eyes and visualize a golden light descending from the top of your head and filling your entire body. Declare aloud, I am protected by divine light. No foreign energy can enter my field. My sexual energy is sacred and is at the service of my higher purpose. Repeat this 3 times with firm intention. Protocol throughout the day. Every time you feel an obsessive thought coming, every time temptation strikes, you stop what you are doing, take 3 deep breaths, and mentally direct the energy from the base of your spine to the top of your head. You can visualize a fire rising, burning everything low and illuminating everything high. Then you redirect this energy to something productive, working, creating, exercising, studying, praying. Nighttime protocol. Before sleeping, close all energy portals. Visualize your body enveloped in a bubble of violet light that repels any negative energy. Declare, I now cut all energy cords that do not serve my highest good. I sleep protected. My dreams are sacred. No entity is permitted to access me. Afterwards, you can put on high-frequency music, a prayer, something that keeps the energy field of the room elevated. Emergency protocol. If you realize you're about to give in, that the desire is too strong, and you feel you're going to lose control, do the following immediately. Get up, take a cold shower, go for a walk, call a trusted friend, put on some uplifting music, do push-ups, anything that breaks the pattern and redirects the energy. The secret is not to stay still feeding the thought. Physical movement breaks the mental cycle. And lastly, but perhaps most importantly, forgive yourself when you slip up, because it will happen. You're human, you're learning. What distinguishes a chosen one is not never falling. It's getting up faster each time you fall. It's not carrying guilt. It's not spiraling into shame. It's simply acknowledging, cleaning up, and starting over. Every day that you choose transmutation instead of waste, you accumulate power. Every time you cut a cord, you recover energy. Every time you resist an attack, you strengthen your field. And then comes the moment when you look back and realize, I won this battle. I tamed this force. I became the master of my own energy. And when that happens, chosen one, you are ready for what comes next. Now I need to reveal an even deeper layer that few people know about. There's a hidden dimension behind these sexual assaults that goes far beyond what we've discussed so far. You need to understand that not all sexual attacks you face are random or come solely from disembodied entities. Many of these attacks are consciously directed by living people who practice sexual magic, binding rituals, and obsession spells. That's right. There are people who pay witches, sorcerers, and practitioners of black magic to perform specific rituals, to sexually bind them, to obsess them, to create an energetic dependency. And when these rituals are performed, they create astral larvae, sexual egregores, artificial entities that cling to your energy field and torment you day and night. How do you know if you're under this type of attack? The signs are specific. Obsessive thoughts always directed at a specific person, recurring erotic dreams always with the same person, a feeling of energetic imprisonment where you feel you can't break free from that bond, even if you want to. Strange synchronicities where the person's name or image appears everywhere. If you are experiencing this, know that it is not love. It's magic. It's energy manipulation. And you need to break it immediately. How do you break a sexual binding spell? First, you cut the energetic cord with the person every day until you feel the connection has truly been broken. Second, you take baths with coarse salt and rue, visualizing all the strange energy being undone and going away. Third, you burn a white candle asking for divine protection and liberation from all bonds. Fourth, you declare aloud, I free myself now and forever from any and all magic, spells, work, or energetic manipulation done against me. I am free. I am protected. No human work can bind me because I belong to the divine. Repeat this for 7 days in a row and you will feel the difference. But there's another aspect that needs to be mentioned. Sometimes the attack comes from within the family itself, or from ancestors. I know this sounds strange, but many bloodlines carry distorted sexual patterns that are passed down from generation to generation. Sexual abuse, compulsive promiscuity, betrayal, incest. All of this leaves marks on the family field. And when a chosen one is born into this bloodline to break these patterns, he faces resistance from the entire family egregore. It's as if the ancestors who lived in a distorted way don't want you to break free because that exposes the filth they carried. So they send dense energy, temptations, sexual attacks to make you repeat the same mistakes and maintain the cycle. But chosen one, you came precisely to break that. You are the link to liberation in your lineage. When you master your sexual energy, when you transmute it, when you live consciously and sacredly, you are not only liberating yourself, you are liberating your entire family tree. You are cleansing your blood. You are ending a millennia-old cycle of distortion. That's why the resistance is so strong. But that's also why the victory is so glorious. Now let me talk about a truth that will shock many people. Some religions and spiritual institutions use sexual repression as a form of control. They teach you that sex is sin, that desire is impurity, that you need to kill the flesh to be saved. But the truth is, they do this to keep you weak. Because a being who is ashamed of their own sexuality is a being that is internally divided. A divided being is easy to control. True spirituality does not repress. It transmutes. It integrates. It honors sexual energy as a divine creative force and teaches how to use it consciously. Jesus wasn't repressed. Buddha wasn't repressed. They were integrated. They mastered energy instead of being mastered by it. A huge difference. So if you grew up in religious environments that made you feel guilty about your sexuality, know that this guilt was implanted. It's not divine, it's human, and you need to free yourself from it. You can honor your sexual energy, acknowledge its beauty and power, and at the same time choose how and when to use it. That is freedom. That is maturity. Another thing that needs to be said, beware of unconscious sexual partnerships. Every time you have sex with someone, you're not just exchanging bodily fluids, you're exchanging energy, cellular memory, karma, vibrational patterns. You literally absorb a part of that person and they absorb a part of you. That's why after some relationships you feel exhausted, confused and heavy, because you absorbed low energy. That's why it's so important to choose carefully who you share that energy with. Casual sex, sex out of neediness, sex out of boredom, sex for validation. All of these things have a very high energy cost. You might think it's just fun, but your energetic body knows the truth. And it demands payment later. Conscious sex, sacred sex, sex with high intention between two aligned people is one of the most powerful experiences that exist. It is literally alchemy. It is creation. It is connection with the divine through the flesh. So it's not about suppressing, it's about choosing, it's about elevating. And when you understand all of this, when you integrate all of this, you realize that the battle was never against sexual desire. The battle was always for the mastery of your own energy, for the sovereignty of your field, for the freedom to choose consciously instead of reacting unconsciously. And now that you've come this far, now that all these layers have been revealed, you're ready for the next level. There is a hidden teaching that has been concealed from the masses for centuries, sacred sexuality and the key to spiritual ascension. It is no coincidence that all mystical traditions, from Hindu Tantra to Western alchemy, place sexual energy at the center of their deepest teachings. The Kundalini serpent that sleeps at the base of the spine is exactly that, dormant sexual energy waiting to be awakened and elevated. When this serpent rises through the chakras, it activates portals of consciousness, dissolves emotional blockages, burns away old karmas, and finally explodes in the crown chakra, bringing enlightenment. But this process doesn't happen by chance. It requires discipline, awareness, and sacred intention. And here's something that will make everything fall into place. The sexual assaults you're experiencing now are intense, precisely because your Kundalini is beginning to awaken. The energy is moving, the blockages are being dissolved, and this process is uncomfortable and frightening and intense. Low-frequency forces perceive this awakening and attack with everything they have to interrupt the process. They know that if your Kundalini fully awakens, you become a Christ-like being, an enlightened being, a being that operates at the frequency of unconditional love and absolute truth, and nothing can stop a being like that. So they bombard you with temptations, distractions, and sexual advances, hoping you'll waste that powerful energy before it completes its upward circuit. But now that you are aware of this, you can protect the process. How do you protect the awakening of Kundalini? First, respect the process. Don't force it, don't rush it, don't manipulate it. Kundalini has its own wisdom. It rises when you are ready, not when you want it to. Trying to force awakening through intense practices without proper preparation can cause serious imbalances. Secondly, cleanse your energy field constantly, because Kundalini only rises through a clean channel. If you have emotional blockages, unresolved traumas, stored anger, deep resentments, the energy will encounter these blockages and create intense physical and emotional symptoms. That's why inner work is fundamental. Therapy, forgiveness, meditation, conscious breathing, all of this prepares the channel so that energy can rise smoothly and safely. Third, conserve energy. Every time you unconsciously waste sexual energy, you interrupt the ascent process. It's like filling a leaky bucket. The energy goes in but leaks out before accumulating enough to ascend. But when you hold on, when you transmute, when you consciously direct, the pressure builds until naturally the energy begins to rise. And when it rises, miracles happen. Let me tell you what happens when Kundalini truly awakens. You begin to have mystical experiences, visions, revelations, direct contact with beings of light, profound understandings about the nature of reality. You literally access higher dimensions of consciousness. Your physical body undergoes transformations. You need less sleep, less food. You heal from chronic illnesses. Your face changes. Your eyes shine differently. People notice that there is something special about you, but they can't quite put their finger on what it is. Your spiritual gifts are activated. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy, healing abilities. All of this begins to emerge naturally. You become a powerful channel of divine energy. Your mission is revealed with absolute clarity. You know exactly why you incarnated, what you came here to do, what your role is in the great planetary shift that is taking place, and you act with unwavering determination. But there's a price. You lose interest in the mundane. Superficial conversations bore you. Empty entertainment no longer appeals to you. You can no longer pretend. You can no longer wear masks. You can no longer accept mediocrity. And that pushes a lot of people away. But it brings the right people closer. You start living on a frequency where few people inhabit, and there you find your true tribe. Now, for those who are in the process of awakening their Kundalini and are experiencing intense symptoms, let me give you some practical guidance. If you feel excessive heat in your spine, tingling, involuntary tremors, or pressure in your head, this is energy moving. Don't be afraid. Breathe deeply, relax your body, and allow the energy to flow. If it becomes too intense, visualize the energy descending back to the earth to balance itself. If you experience emotional outbursts, crying for no apparent reason, intense anger arising out of nowhere, this is karmic cleansing. Old memories, traumas from other lives, all of this comes to the surface to be released. Feel it, cry, scream if you need to, but then let it go. Don't hold on. Let it pass. If you feel an intense need to be alone, to get away from people, to spend more time in silence, respect that. You are in a process of internal reconfiguration. You need this time for introspection. It's not selfishness, it's sacred self-care. If you realize you no longer fit in the old places, the old groups, the old conversations, celebrate that. You've evolved. You're not the same person anymore. And trying to force yourself to fit in where you no longer belong is violence against your own soul. And lastly, if you feel afraid of what is happening, afraid of going crazy, afraid of losing control, know that this fear is normal, but it is unfounded. Kundalini does not destroy you. It rebuilds you. It takes you back to your divine essence. Trust the process. Trust the wisdom of your body. Trust the divine that dwells within you. Because in the end, when the journey is complete, when the serpent reaches the top and the crown opens, you understand that it was all worth it. Every pain, every test, every attack, everything was part of the plan to bring you here. And now, with your sexual energy mastered and transmuted, with your Kundalini awakened, you are ready to fulfill the mission that brought you to this plane. Now, we get to the heart of it all. The reason you went through all of this. The reason the attacks were so intense. The reason you were tested to the limit. You are not chosen by chance. You were chosen to fulfill a specific mission at this critical moment in humanity, and this mission requires you to be in full power. It requires you to have mastery over your vital energy. It requires you to be a pure and potent channel of divine force. It is impossible to fulfill this mission while being a prisoner of your desires. It is impossible to fulfill this mission with your energy leaking out in all directions. It is impossible to fulfill this mission without having integrated and transformed your sexuality. Therefore, everything you've experienced up to this point has been preparation. Every betrayal taught you discernment, every loneliness taught you self-sufficiency, every attack taught you protection. Every temptation taught you self-control. Every pain taught you compassion. Every fall taught you humility. You were forged in fire. You were shaped under pressure. You were purified in adversity. And now, emerging from this process, you are no longer that naive, fragile, easily manipulated person. You are a spiritual warrior. You are a bearer of light. You are an anchor of a new frequency. And your mission is specific. You came to break patterns. You came to interrupt ancestral cycles of pain. You came to show a new path to those who are ready to awaken. But to do that, you first needed to free yourself from the same traps that hold most people captive. And the biggest trap is the sexual one, because you see, humanity is trapped in a low frequency of distorted sexuality. Pornography, objectification, the use of the body as a commodity, sex disconnected from the sacred, relationships based on need and not on conscious choice. All of this keeps people in a dense, materialistic, egoic vibration. And as long as humanity remains at this frequency, it cannot ascend. It continues to repeat the same patterns of violence, control, and separation. But when chosen ones like you master their own sexual energy and begin to experience sexuality in a sacred way, they radiate a different frequency. They show that it is possible. They become living examples of integration. And this inspires others. This awakens others. This creates a domino effect of liberation. So your personal victory over these sexual assaults isn't just about you. It's about everyone who will observe your transformation and wonder, how did he do it? How did she break free? Can I do it too? And the answer is yes, everyone can. But someone needs to go first. Someone needs to pave the way. Someone needs to prove that it's possible. That someone is you. In the coming months, you will notice a radical change in your life. Doors that were closed will open. The right people will appear, opportunities will arise, clarity about your mission will intensify, and you will understand that everything was being timed. The universe was just waiting for you to be ready, waiting for you to master this crucial area, waiting for you to become the clean channel you needed to be. And now that you're ready, now that you've won this battle, the game changes completely. You enter a new phase where things flow, where synchronicity is constant, where you manifest with impressive speed, where the right people cross your path at the exact moment, where money, resources, and opportunities appear in unexpected ways. Because the energy that was previously wasted is now available for creation, for manifestation, for the mission, and you'll look back in a few years and be grateful for every attack, every test, every difficult moment, because you'll realize that everything was necessary to transform you into who you are now. But there's something I need to warn you about. Victory doesn't mean the attacks will stop completely. They may decrease, they may become less intense, but they will still appear from time to time, testing your dominance. Because that's how the spiritual game works. The higher you climb, the more you are tested to ensure that you are truly grounded in that frequency. So don't let your guard down. Keep practicing the protocols, keep transmuting, keep cutting cords, keep cleansing yourself energetically. This is now part of your daily routine. It's not something you do once and that's it. It's something you integrate into your lifestyle, and each day that you consciously choose how to use your energy, you strengthen your field, you raise your frequency, you anchor more light on the planet. You become a lighthouse, and lighthouses attract ships lost in the darkness. You will begin to notice that people will seek you out, asking for help, asking for guidance, wanting to understand how you managed to free yourself. And there lies the beauty of the mission. You don't need to go around preaching, convincing, or forcing anyone. You simply live your truth. And your presence, your energy, your transformation speak louder than any words. People will sense something different about you. They'll realize you carry a peace, a strength, a certainty that they don't have. And they'll want to learn. And when they ask, you share. You tell your story. You reveal what you've learned. You show them the way. But you don't carry anyone. Each person needs to make their own journey. Each person needs to face their own demons. Each person needs to choose to master their own energy. You merely illuminate the path. The journey itself is the responsibility of each individual. And so, chosen one, you fulfill your mission, not by saving the world, but by awakening those who are ready to awaken. Not by changing all of humanity, but by transforming those who choose to transform themselves. And that's more than enough, because each person who awakens creates a point of light. And when several points of light connect, they form a network, and that network illuminates the darkness, and change happens, not all at once, but gradually, person by person, choice by choice. Transmutation by transmutation. And you who began this journey thinking you were being attacked, discover that you were actually being prepared. Prepared to be one of the pillars of the new frequency. Prepared to be one of the heralds of the new era. Prepared to be one of the liberators of the new humanity. And it all started with a simple decision: to master one's own sexual energy. Now you know the whole truth. You understand why the sexual assaults were so intense. You understand that they weren't meant to destroy you. They were meant to strengthen you. They weren't meant to lead you astray. They were meant to prepare you. Every temptation you resisted accumulated power. Every time you transmuted instead of wasting, you leveled up. Every cord you cut, you reclaimed sovereignty. And now, as we reach the end of this revelation, you are no longer the same person who started watching this video. Something has changed within you. Something has awakened. Something has been activated. You can feel it in your chest. You can feel it in your energy. You can feel it in the certainty that has taken hold of you. You are chosen. And chosen ones don't run from battle. They face it. They win. They become living examples that it's possible to transcend programming, master energy, and fulfill the mission. And in the coming days, I will reveal even more to you. I will show you how to identify who is sending specific attacks against you. I will teach you advanced protection techniques that few know. I will guide you through the process of fully activating your Kundalini safely. But for now, apply everything you've learned here. Start transmuting this energy today. Cut the cords, cleanse your field, decree your protection. And in the comments, share with me, what revelation impacted you the most in this video? Was it understanding that the attacks were confirmation of your awakening? Was it discovering about energy cords? Was it learning to transmute instead of repressing? Write it down below, because your experience might be exactly what another chosen one needs to read today. And if you haven't liked this video yet, do it now. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, because this journey is just beginning. What's coming in the next videos will delve even deeper into all of this. And in the first pinned comment, you'll find access to the 3 sacred books I promised you. Profound material that will completely accelerate your transformation. Don't miss this opportunity. Enter now before access is closed. Share this video with another chosen one you know who is going through this battle. Because we don't awaken alone, we awaken in community. And the more chosen ones who master their own energy, the faster the new frequency anchors itself on this planet. Always remember, sexual desire is not your enemy. Ignorance about how to deal with it is. Now you have the knowledge, now you have the tools, now you have the awareness. What you do with this will define your next chapter. The chosen ones don't wait for permission. They recognize the call and answer. They master the energy and fulfill the mission. They walk through the fire and emerge transformed. And you just walked through the fire. Now comes the most incredible part. You reap the rewards of your victory. See you in the next video, warrior. Keep the frequency high. Protect your energy. Fulfill your mission. You were chosen, and the chosen ones always win.